Good evening, this is Nomadic Phoenix from Desert Phoenix Productions. Today I'll be taking you through how to rendezvous and dock two different spacecraft in Kerbal Space Program. I'm doing these a little bit out of order. At a later date I'll be going through a tutorial on staging, a tutorial on getting rid of the common bugs when launching and so on. But this time I'll just be doing a rendezvous because it's so much easier, because there's already a tutorial within Kerbal Space Program. Which isn't to say mine is redundant. It's not bad as far as tutorials go, but actually running through it isn't a bad idea. There is a few things I miss. I won't be spending too much time letting this run. I'll just skip through the text. I'm sure you can pause it and read it at your leisure. So as you can see, you have your own spacecraft here, which we're currently focused on, and a target here. So I'm just left clicking on that, set as target. Yep. So, as we can see, I mean it's saying it all there, so I don't really need to go through that too much. Now there's a trick here. This is one of the things I was talking about. There's a trick here he doesn't talk about, which is if you want these to line up exactly right, just set up your view so both of those lines are flat. See, that's no good because it's not exactly flat. And then just play with this one. Now in this particular one, they're cheating a little because you can't actually go through onto the next one until it's exactly right. And obviously, not obviously, but the closer your maneuver is to the bit between those two arrows, the closer your maneuver is to that line, the better it's going to be. Otherwise you're going to have to make another adjustment later on. So that's just, you should already know this, but that's just, the blue thing is where your controlled burn will be. So you can see it's counting down there. It's still a little bit far away, so we'll just bring that in. That will do. I'm just hitting Shift and Control just to get a more accurate estimated burn there. There's only 9 seconds, so if we halve that, we should start the burn at full at about 4. I'm just using Z and X for this. Yeah, and that 9-second estimate was obviously off, so I should have started at around 16 seconds, 15 seconds or so. this is news to me, so even when you know how to play the game, the tutorials can still be useful. So if I put my mouse over that A and DN line, it'll give me the estimated inclination. A and DN line, so I'm 0.2 off. And after the burn, a new one is there, so I might as well put it on here to save time. That'll do. It's 11 minutes and a bit, so I'll just skip past it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. That's just the shift and control keys again. Slightly better finesse. And that looks like it's good enough because we can go on to the next stage. Alright, so since we're going this way, so to explain this a little bit, this gives us two intersecting nodes. If I make this burn, when I reach that point, my target will be here, and when I come down again and reach this point, the target will be here. So if I add more, you can see I can slowly adjust this until it all lines up. Like that would probably be the best one. I'll bring my thing over there and it's now 20.4 kilometers at its closest, but the target velocity would be quite far off. That's 3.5. Now there's something I don't know if it's talked about this in earlier tutorials, but I'll go through it now anyway. When it's at this screen, you can see how that circle's highlighted. I can click and drag on that to move it around the orbit, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, you can right click on it, and this means the planned burn is 1 orbit ahead, 2 orbits ahead, 3 orbits ahead, 4 orbits ahead, and 5 orbits. I've already got a reasonably good burn earlier, but if I wanted to, I could just set up that 5 orbits ahead just so I could get a target position much closer. It's not so useful in this one, but it can be useful at times. It's just something to remember. And how close am I to that? Bloody close. So that's about good. Out there. And it'll never be quite as close, still 47, so I will vary. Okay, so I'll bring on tap R to bring on my RCS thrusters and just tap it a little. This is N to go backwards. If you go too far, then you just press H to go forwards. That looks like the best we're going to get it. That's reasonably good. Okay, what it's talking about here, I'll talk you through it before I actually do it. Auto saving, wonderful. So, if you click on this, at the moment it's telling us our orbital speed, how fast we're going around the planet. If I click on this once, it's not too much. It's not too different at this point. But this is our speed relative to the planet. It's more important on things like Minus, which spins very, very quickly, in which case the surface velocity will be very different from the orbital velocity. If you just drop straight down, you're going to crash into the planet because it's moving quite fast sideways, or spinning. But anyway, if I click it once more, it'll give us our target velocity, which is how fast I'm moving, or the target is moving, in relative to each other. At the moment, it's there. The distance between us is like 1,000 kilometers, so it's not important at the moment. But once we're within 2.5 kilometers, that's a fair speed. We really want to reduce that. Of course, it'll be a lot less at that point, but let's get there. Oh, one more thing before I get there. See this pink icon? I am now facing directly away from the target. I am now facing directly towards the target. And to go back to this yellow icon, when you're in orbit, that's directly away from the direction I'm going. And that's directly towards the direction I'm going. But if I switch to target, you'll notice the yellow icons jump around. That's talking about our relative velocity again. So basically if I want to kill all relative velocity, which I will later on, then once I'm close to it, I make sure this is selected in target, go to the this one with a cross in the middle, wait until we're as close as we're going to be. I know I said it twice, that's because it's important and because I've got a bad memory. And hit it until it gets down to 0. And that's what we're going to do once we go over there, which we'll do now. You'll notice the target speed is dropping. Now there's something you'll notice when you get, okay, that target speed is getting really close, so I'll just run through. But when you get really close, you can see the icon pop up like that. And you can see how dropping that relative target speed slows it down. It's still going to be a pain to catch up with though. So this will be the next part of the tutorial. You'll see he's already pulling away. There was zero relative velocity between us, but he's already up to 0.4, 0.5. It's changing all the time, and the reason for that is I am in a slightly closer orbit, which means I'm going around. The closer you are to the planet, the faster you orbit. So something like the Moon, for instance, takes I can't remember, something like a couple of days to orbit around Kerbin, but Minmus, hang on, but Minmus takes a full month, something like that. Basically, the further away from something is, the longer it will take for it to orbit, and it doesn't matter how heavy it is. In this particular case, because I am slightly closer to Kerbin, it means I'm going to speed up each time. If this can be a great way. If he's on the other side of the planet, for instance, and I want to speed up and catch up to him, I can reduce my orbit, so I can slowly catch up to him each orbit, maybe wait 10 orbits or so. Or if I want to slow down and let him catch up to me, I can increase my orbit. So, do I even... yeah. But anyway, right now we're more or less at the same, and I want to intersect. I could just, what he's suggesting I do in a tutorial, which isn't great. So yes, it's already up to 3.9. Is kill relative velocity, point my ship in his direction, and then burn up to say 20 meters a second, and 11.9, not a huge difference, but we'd be constantly correcting our velocities. It'd be a right pain in the rear. So rather than that, we'll just go to map view again, go to somewhere like that, 11 seconds, maybe not there, somewhere like that perhaps. And we'll just do another planned burn. Hopefully get this as close as it can be. 38.3, yeah, that's not great, so we'll just play with these settings. And the thing about planned burns is, you're not doing it off the cuff. You can sort of, what's that, 3.2, and our relative speed is only 8.7 meters a second, which is a lot better than our 600 and something it was last time. So, you might get to this point and think, oh, I screwed up, and then just do crazy burns trying to fix it. Don't. If you've killed most of your relative velocity and you're still fairly close, odds are it's not that hard to make another burn to fix it all. So this one is 15 seconds away, so we just need to get into... And see, last time it needed like 600 or something. This time it only needs 15.6. 3.2, see, that's reasonably good, or even there, which is not so good. So how far away is it? Still a little bit, 23 seconds away, or 3.2 kilometers. That's at 3.2 kilometers. It always seems to be slightly less than the estimated closest distance. In this case, I could probably expect it to reach about 2.8 or something. So just there is a bit of a trick. If you line up with the target velocity or anti-target velocity. I don't know the technical term, please excuse me. But anyway, if you line that up, its closest distance should be about 90 degrees to your craft, which it pretty much is now. I don't think it'll get much closer, despite what I thought earlier. So I'll just kill relative velocity. Might as well use RCS thrusters to get off that last 0.1. Again, just H and N, it's really simple. And it looks like it's already building up again, but you know, it's a lot closer, 3.2 instead of 11. No, that's not what we're looking for. And the closer you are to the planet, the more gravity or mass upward turns. Like before, 11 kilometers away, that's not too bad, that's doable. But if it's 20 kilometers away, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing this. I'd definitely recommend doing a planned maneuver instead. So what you want, obviously, that's the direction you're going and that's your target, so you want the two to overlap. And keep in mind, it's not a major problem, but all of your speed here you're going to have to undo at the end once you get there. So you don't want to be approaching it at 50 meters a second or anything, because you're just going to shoot straight by. You don't have to do this, but just set up your retro burn before you get there, before you do your time warp. Again, just N to slow down a tad. And I'm turning off RCS for turning. I think it's just a good habit to get into. If your RCS thrusters aren't exactly aligned, it can start giving you weird, even if you're just using it to turn, it can give you weird sideways movement and stuff. So you're slowly drifting off to the side. Okay, it's fairly close, so just 1 or 2, 0.1 or 2. Certainly no more than 1 or 2 anyway. Just use RCS to adjust that. Now what's he saying here? Brake now, yes, we've already gone past that. Ah yes, control from here. It's pretty self-explanatory really, I don't think I need to go over that anymore. The only thing I might note is this certainly gets a lot more interesting when you got, for example, a docking port here on the side, or rather a docking port which isn't aligned with your main engines. If you're controlling it from here, this suddenly shifts all around, and if you turn on your thrusters by mistake or use them to try and get closer to the enemy, you shoot off in a weird direction and it's just a pain. You've got to cancel it, reapproach, do everything again. Alright, one thing you'll notice, we are not aligned with it. If we come in, even though I'm pointing directly at the docking port, which I'm not, so I need to click on its docking port, and I'm right clicking like mad here, but I'm not able to get it. Maybe left click? Nope. Okay, but in the same way I selected this and control from here, I need to do the same for here and select target. But it's hang on. It's like a single line of pixels there, set as target. And you'll see this, rewind it, you'll see it moves a few millimeters to the left. But you'll see, even though I'm aimed at it, I'm not going to be able to dock at it because I'm pretty much at right angles. Now there is a easy and a hard way of fixing that. One way is to kill my relative velocity, change my angle, shoot up that way, kill my relative velocity, change my angle and come down. The simpler way is to use, I don't know, basically the bracket keys, the ones between P and backslash. If you're within about 2.5 kilometers, you can use them, just tapping one of them now to switch between craft. Now we want to do the same thing again. Right click, control from here, and right click, set as target. Make sure all rotation is stopped and switch back. Okay, it's not working. Maybe because I still had it selected. Switch back, yep. So it just makes things so much simpler. And possibly because we rotated it, you'll notice that the direction we're moving in and so on is not quite aligned, so I'll just fix that. Still not quite aligned because I overcorrected. And they should pretty much drift into each other. The angle's not perfect, but in fact, I might change back and yes, this one's been rotating a bit, I believe. I turned off the SAS before because it has been known to cause problems in the past. Maybe they fixed it in a patch, I don't know. And that's what happens when you bounce. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but if you come in really slowly like we did, it doesn't cause that too much of a problem. But the important thing is to kill relative velocity. I'm just using the JKLI keys. and turning it off to rotate again. And now you can see the magnetic couplers. I turn off SAS and nav docked. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to know. Everything else is really basic. Blah 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 blah. Right click on something, transfer crew, transfer, and click on the appropriate thing. Right click, transfer, where is it? The only other thing of note, in fact I did forget to tell you, in fact I forgot to do it, I do it all the time and I usually regret it, but when you're docking you should probably close all of the solar panels, if you've got solar panels that you can close. This is because if you miss docking completely and do a close flyby, you can knock off your solar panels and just ruin everyone's day. It doesn't take too much time, it's very easy to forget like I just did, but if you've spent 3 hours getting these two craft outside of Mimnus, or okay that's a stretch, but one of the further away places, Juna or something, if you've done a ascent, you've collected data, you've come back up, and then you don't want to knock off solar panels just because you forgot to close them. It's just not fun. The only other thing, transferring fuel. Geez, I don't have much left, do I? I might not even have enough to get out of orbit. But anyway, getting out of orbit is kind of outside the scope of this tutorial anyway. This is, what did I decide to call myself? Nomadic Phoenix? Yep, this is Nomadic Phoenix signing off.